Simple and clean, welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. I want to give a big shout out to you guys for the 200 subscribers. It means a lot to me. And here we go with the tier list that I wanted to set up for Red Purple Law. And my honest opinion throughout all the experiences that I've played this deck. This is how I see the matchups are going to be. It goes from advantage, slight advantage, slight disadvantage, you losing, and just nah. As in the nah fam section is just gonna be like you're not gonna fight this, and even then it's probably not gonna be that big of a deal. So for starters, we're gonna go to it for advantage. Let's see, I'd say we're pretty here. I know this one's slight advantageous. I feel like if they don't draw the absolute nuts, then it's an advantage. But if they draw normally, like just a normal hand that they can actually do their thing, it's slight advantage. It feels like it's really dependent on how many searches they get, and even if they do get that many searchers, bottom decking their blocker law is pretty simple, or just early aggression bottom decking. So as soon as you get your useless kid down, you can start bottom decking without having to really worry about your Dawn management, and then it kind of just messes up the deck as like a whole. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one. You losing. The deck is very, very... They draw a lot. They don't really run out of steam. They kind of pressure you hard enough to an extent where you either have no hand but you have a lot of life, or you have no life but you have a lot of hand, but by then it doesn't really matter because Diablo Jambe exists, Rush Luffy exists, and if they start shitting out a board of 1 cost, it's really hard to keep get rid of. Like maybe 1 to 2 units, that's like fine, but if they have like a full board of 1 cost turn 2, you're getting slammed. You're getting slammed, my man. And now I would put at slight disadvantageous. It's hard. It's a really hard matchup, but it's not impossible. I feel like if you're able to get down your ace or any of your other unit, like if you're able to build a stable enough board that doesn't get hit by Yamato or Gadots, then being able to take them out is pretty easy. You also have Purple Law blocker to strip his hand when it does get to that like a really big extent. So minusing them at the same time is really good. I only really save it for towards the end of like the game, like when we're cutting to the end of the corner. That's when I start using the blocker. While I'm at it, it's hard to put him. This matchup feels 50-50. I'd say I put slight disadvantageous because Whitebeard players a lot more aggro now. So they're running more rush cards like Zoro, Sanji, Luffy. Ace is a given. But yeah, because of those, it makes it slight disadvantageous, but it's still winnable. Like I said, it feels 50-50, but I don't feel like there's like a middle section to be had here. Katakuri, slight disadvantageous, but it's still winnable. Triggers exist. It's just Russian roulette now, just lotto life, which really sucks, but hey man, if they want to keep giving yellow support that makes it a lot more harder for people to play the game from life, then so be it. Honestly, I don't really have too much of a problem. It just sucks when you lose the game because of like a last life trigger, and it's like, well, I outplayed them and I lose anyway. Shit happens. But all in all, it's not that bad. If you can rush them down early enough, fast enough, then it's really not bad. Skazuki, I feel like this one's slight advantageous, personally, because if you are able to beat them in the... I know it sounds silly, but if you can beat them in the control game, which Law has the tools for, actually, then they waste more resources than you do when it comes to clearing the board. And because if you put 2 4 costs down on the board, that's already at least that's 2 Great Eruptions and a Lucci, so that's 6 Dawn in total. So they have to commit at least 6 Dawn. But obviously, if you have like a 3 cost and a 4 cost on the board, then it's a lot easier for them to deal with. They just swing with lead and then do Great Eruption and then Lucci it. But if you make it a lot harder for them to get rid of your cards, then they have to start burning more than they want. And I know the deck is like insanely good at drawing what it needs. It's so dumb, but there are times where it's like the Zoro complex. It's like if they brick, they brick, and it's like night and day. But if they don't, then it's like, well, this is, yeah, they're doing what it's expected at this point. Let's see, purple Luffy. I want to say slight disadvantageous because it's also build dependent too. Like if they're not running ulti page 1, which is insane to me, then it's like a slight advantageous. But if they are, it's up here. Poly rips your board apart mostly, along with 9-drop Kaido. But them being able to poly on turn 3, which is insane, is like a huge tempo swing because they're popping something and they're ramping at the same time. So it's pretty strong against our board. It's not really that fun not really that fun, but because they can put out so many tall, big units every turn, it's really hard to deal with their tempo. And they also, like you probably thinking, well, they have a lot of bricks, right? They do, but they also have Gatling, so they can get rid of their bricks quite easily. So it's not really that much of a big of an issue. Which is what makes it slightly advantageous. Rebecca is pretty advantageous. You bottom deck their good cards. They always have a big hand, so being able to purple law blocker, like strip them out of their life is like really easy, and it just helps the game like progress really fast. This one feels like advantageous because they don't really have cards to KO your stuff. So if you build a board, you can actually keep the board. There's so much board clear this this meta, but against them, it's almost non-existent. The thing with this deck is that they're just a base 6k leader, like ooh, and they have Gear 5 Luffy and Whitebeards, but I feel like if you play it well enough and you get all your 5ks out, you are actually able to pressure them hard enough to where it doesn't seem as appealing or attractive to play like a Whitebeard or a Kid or something, or a Gear 5. And if they do go for that, well, I know if they go for Gear 5, they're going for game, and if they don't get it, then they probably lose. But and in most cases, they're very confident that they have the game. Let's see. I'd say Rosinante is pretty advantageous. You can kind of ignore his ability to block things because you can just bottom deck it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a real, like, Rosinante is a pretty good deck. I humbly believe that. But I feel like Law being able to hit their big targets and kind of just ignore the whole mechanic they have going on is just too strong. Like, you can get past Rosinante blocker, you can get past Kid, just Gamma Knife and bottom deck it. Yeah, you can get hit by 10-drop Dofi, but you can get rid of it just easily because of the cards we have access to. This one, funny enough, feels slight disadvantageous because you can't necessarily hit their life as much as you want to because triggers are a thing. Oh, dang, would you look at that? She's half yellow. Yeah, so because triggers are a thing, it's really hard to necessarily beat them in the aggro game. You kind of have to control them for most of the part. Because, like, there was, like, a game, I hit them for life, boom, cracker. I hit them for a second life, boom, Morley. And I was like, oh, so I just lose turn 3, or, like, turn 2. It's like, that's insane. And, like, the fact that all they have to do is ditch one card to give 3 units plus 3k, which could be, like, it could be like a Bello Betty searcher, and now that's a 5k. That pressures an attack at my life now. Like, just the ability to gain instant pressure at will is just really strong for the deck. which is why I think it's really good in this meta. Just not that many people have explored it yet, or like tried to at least. I feel like the deck is figured out though. Just not that many people want to play. People are just on that Sakazuki and Luffy pack right now, so. But hey, no shame there. Sabo feels slight actually, I don't know. I think it feels advantageous because you kind of like with Rosinante, you kind of ignore his leader ability because you're not KOing anything. You're bottom decking it, which, you know, again, is like a really strong removal option, especially in this game. Yeah, I feel like it's advantageous. Most of Sabo's cards are rushers or blockers, so being able to deal with that is pretty good, pretty easy. Ace feels slight disadvantage because of the fact that they have a lot of KO cards and Flame Emperor exists, and because of Flame Emperor, they can not only get rid of like your useless kids or your aces or anything, but they swing at you for double attack, lethal. And because the weakness of the deck is hand power, like hand draw, you at that point of the game you may or may not be able to block it. There's been a lot of times where I've had like a handful of like counterless cards, and this kind of just like his spell pops off. That and Ace is really strong right now because of the ban lift. So because of that, they got all their rad beams again. They got all their Marcos. Although you can bottom the Marcos, you're still burning Dawn, and if you don't have a board to help like funnel the Dawn back, you're gonna be even more behind. So that kind of sucks. We clear. We cleared Ophi, and it's like not even close because like the whole thing is just having a bunch of blockers, but like we can just bottom deck that and ignore it. And for some reason, not many people swing with their blockers, and I cannot stress this enough, guys. If you have a blocker, it ain't a blocker until it needs to be a blocker. You swing with that bad bitch, okay? Talking to you law players too, you red green law players. You swing with your fucking law. It's gonna die anyway. It's gonna get bottomed anyway. You might as well swing with it, right? You're at 2 life. Why do you need to block with him right now? You know? Just swing. And by proxy, he becomes a blocker because people are gonna want to swing at it anyway. Ah, you see that? Ooh. People are gonna want to swing at it anyway. So if you swing with it, they're gonna swing at the blocker anyway. So it's gonna do its job by proxy anyways. Moving on. Kid advantages. They don't have a strong enough support pool right now to make them super good. Also, a lot of the red purple decks I've noticed have like, for some reason they have like an aggro in like, they're shown as aggro decks, and some, or no, it's like they're wall decks disguised as aggro decks. No, sorry, it's the other way around. They're aggro decks disguised as wall decks. Because like this isn't really like Luffy, red purple Luffy isn't really a wall deck. It's just aggressive. They just have tools to make them wall you off. That's just my opinion though. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. Let's see. I have a blue Crockett in my locals. This feels slight advantageous. I don't know what it is with you blue Croc players, but you guys are defensive. Like you guys heavy guard at the beginning of the game, and it's insane to me. Like like I'll swing like 7, he's like 2k 1k. I'll swing 8, 2k 2k. I'll swing 9, fucking Rain and 2k. I look at their life, they're at 5 or 4 life. It's like, bro, it's not that serious. But I've seen a lot of them put in the 10 cost Kaido, the new one, the draw 4. So it kind of makes more, or at least it makes more sense now for them to be defensive, because then they get to the late game to where they start playing Kaidos. Like, they start dropping them like big moms. Just bam, bam, bomb, bomb, bomb. And it's like really good for them. Let's see. Yeah, VV, nah. In fact, do I even need to fill this out? Everything else is kind of here already. See, oh, this guy, You guys saw the extra booster leak for this leader? Insane to me. Oh, actually Magellan's ooh. Magellan, I feel a slight disadvantage because of the Magellan character. Which reminds me, yeah, the Magellan character. Because when they play it and they neg you your Dawn, it's like they put you back so much because you want that extra Dawn so you can hit 5. If I were to go against Magellan or Luffy, sorry, picking second's pretty good because you're on the even curve. You'll, even if they do hit the Magellan off, you should be at 5 anyway instead of 6, which lets you still play your useless kid. But if you have Zoroark on the board, then it's a lot better for you. Slightly advantageous. I mean, let's do that. Yeah, but I think I guess I'll just fill in the blanks anyway, right? While we're here. We'll put, and I'm putting this here just because it's yellow, to be honest. Like, yellow is just that. It's them. Nami is pretty advantageous for us because, yeah, our blocker law kind of just goes to town on them, which is really nice. They always have a fat hand to deal with. Slight or advantageous actually. Same with Lucci. Queen, slight advantageous because we have ways of dealing with their big bodies in a pretty, what's the word, consistent way. It's actually not that bad. Slight advantageous, mostly because they're at 4 life instead of 5, and black doesn't really give them too much to work with. And if you're gonna be playing her, you might as well just play Enel at that point. In my opinion. Z, we kind of clear. They aren't really a problem. I just put Garp here, nobody plays that. Kuro here. Smoker. I'd say we're slight advantageous there. What's it called? The only card that really comes up to mind that is annoying is like 5 cost Garp. Shout out to Crim for that one. Yeah. Because they are able to just rest and pop your 4 costers, which, you know, you kind of need to keep alive on the board. Kaido. I haven't fought any Kaidos actually, but if I actually no, I fought like a couple, like 3, about 3 to 4 of them. It's actually not that hard. It's pretty advantageous because unless like it's like if they don't see Onigashima, then it's so hard for them to like come back from things. But if they do, then it's a lot easier for them. Dofi is pretty advantageous for us. It's not that hard. Their mechanic is pretty good for building up tempo and swinging 7k every turn, but because it's rested, we can just swing into it and deal with it naturally. So it doesn't really. So like they'll put it and they'll eat up our attacks for the turn, but they still won't have anything on the board. And something that a lot of Red Purple Law players should be doing is that you have your neg cards, but don't just immediately bottom deck it. You can just swing at it and save your Dawn for any further plays down the line. Like, yeah, like it depends on like the tempo of the game. Like, yeah, you could like pressure their you could pressure the leader swing, the leader life a little bit more, but I feel like for Red Purple Law, making sure that you have playable Dawn is a lot better in my opinion, because then you'll get to a point where you just have like 3 to 4 Dawn to your name, and it's late game, and it's like, well, you can only swing so much and so high, and that, you know, it fucks you up. But yeah, this is my tier list for the matchups against Purple Law. So just think of this as +1, +2, -1, -2. The only like actually polarizing matchup, in my opinion, feels like Zoro, because they just have too much. they're just pressuring you too much, honestly. And I don't feel like there's anything you can really do besides like try to stabilize. You need to see all your counters, your 2K counters in your hand. And if you don't, then you get supremely fucked. Um, you have to aggressively use your leader ability too. But if you do that, then you won't have enough Dawn to help make up for it on the later turns because they abuse all the rush cards. Like and like putting down useless kid helps a lot because he's a blocker and he helps you econ your Dawn. But like jet pistol, jet pistol, 4 Dawn investment. Now you're losing again, or out of life. So that sucks. But yeah. Full tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.